So, legendary creature A, oh right, well he was supposed to live here, but we've explored there, they're not there, so he must be over here. One naturally pushes back, because mankind never knows what is out there in the darkness or in the mysterious fog. And so we will create things to be out there, because that is the condition of man.
And there's a difference between things that are fancifully created and things that have actually been encountered and seen.
But interestingly enough, one of the problems is that we also tend to conflate those things.
Aye.
If we believe that one thing might exist at a place, and we go there, and things happen that we can then attribute to that thing, whether we actually see it or not, we are now convinced that it's actually there.
Several hundred years ago, the lovely practice of the bestiary or bestiary began, and there are many that are beautifully illuminated, all sorts of creatures and monsters that have been encountered here, there and everywhere, and unicorns in Africa, which are these stout, leathery things with horns that are very angry and charge you.
How many of you all have seen some of the nautical charts and maps of our time, and seen the very fanciful drawings of the sea creatures that are spouting smoke out of their nostrils? It is a good bet that none of these people ever actually saw a whale. But it has been described to them, and this is what they have drawn.
A large beast with steam coming out.
This is a time in which anything that lives in the ocean is considered a fish, whether it is or not.
Dolphins are fish.
And the ocean itself is one of the great unknowns. And we'll actually discuss that tomorrow afternoon.
The word shark does not yet exist in English. It's a Dutch word, meaning to rip or to tear. And so there is a less of an understanding, as we will talk about tomorrow, of what actually lives down there. But we do have fishing nets and that sort of thing. But yes, interesting, those sea monsters. Some of them will later be proved out as facts, such as the Kraken from Norse myth, which is a very large squid. But
and we will talk in depth, see what I did there, about sea creatures on the morrow in the afternoon. But we can certainly make mention of them now. There are many of these things. Aye.
Some of them are more serpent-like, some of them are more fish-like.
I will also put forth the idea that there are some things that are quite fantastic that may in fact truly be fantastic, in the sense of even today we would have trouble believing in them. But it is quite possible that that they still existed. There has been some speculation in your time that some of the werewolf legends and things of that nature that come out of the forests of France and the Germanys, some of these forests are very deep, very dark, very few people have ever gone into them for a very long time.
The Black Forest is very black.
Mortals have always been afraid
and
of it.
they don't go in very often. They seldom see man. There are a few roads that go through them, and they are frightening to go upon.
Those that go in don't necessarily come back.
There is been some suggestion, and it is actually possible that some very ancient creatures that technically should have been gone were still in existence in that time, such as the dire wolf. And that what we are actually encountering was simply wolves that weighed an additional 20 to 50 pounds and had a bite force that was increased by a good 150 to 200 pounds.
Or the great cats of Scotland.
There are phantom cats that are often seen in the British Isles, and as far as we know, the people who have lived there, and my people have been here longer than anyone, they have never lived in these isles. If they did, it was a very long time ago. There are tales of lions in the ancient days, but they are still seen. There are bears which are seen in Scotland, and bears have not lived in Britain for 1,000 years at least, and they are still seen.
Their life is tough, and again, it's only fairly recently in our time that a lot of these places that mankind has really started to encroach. So one can very easily conceive of the last of a particular breed continuing to live.
There's a bear. Where? Over there.
Oh, huzzah!
He's not in the woods. So
Oh, he's been carried away!
Bear hunter.
You never
My
know
lords
what
and
you'll see
ladies,
at the
we
fair.
did not stage this. I just want that known. The things one sees at fair.
You never know what you'll see at the
You never
fair.
know.
But yes,
So dire wolves and the like, the Paleolithic versions of modern creatures may have actually hung around long enough to be seen at least a little bit.
and in fatherlands, in the Americas, in Africa and Asia, there are all sorts of stories and tales that come back to us. And it's not always sure which ones are true. But as I said, this is an exciting time to be alive. This is the age of exploration.
We have seen bones of great birds, monstrous birds, that we are convinced are rocks. That rocks still exist in our world beyond the shore.
Right.
We are absolutely convinced that griffins exist because we have seen their skeletons, their bones. They must still be alive out there. The concept of extinction does not really exist in our time. If it existed at one time, it exists today, just someplace we can't see it. It has been pushed out or moved on, but it is not gone.
But the more we fill in the map, the less corners there are for such things to be. And so they are pushed further and further from civilization. And there are all kinds of, as I said in the bestiaries, there are all sorts of creatures described, including unicorns. My favorite is the lucrata, which is a mix between a badger and a horse, essentially.
Now, these bestiaries are populated by descriptions from honest witnesses who will give their best interpretation of what it was they saw, and then, like your game of telephone, passed on and enhanced and all that, perfectly innocent, right, until it becomes some enormous, rather changed things. However, there are some cases where explorers themselves will, shall we say, enhance the truth of what they see for the very good reason that that is worth money.
Never bring home a dull tale.
Aye. If you go and say, well, I saw lots of trees, and I think there were some people there because I saw some campfires,
And some rocks, there were some rocks.
and there were some rocks and lots of fish. Not really going to sell your backers on another adventure. But if you go and say, I caught a glimpse in the mists of one of the 7 cities of gold.
Oh, the 17th.
As the mist parted, I saw it shining. I swear I can find it again if you just give me the money. That's much better.
And that is one of the things driving the Spanish and Portuguese in the New World, is these tales of lost cities of gold and all that manner of thing. The Fountain of Youth, which
And
constantly on the
honestly,
search for.
They have seen nothing, nor have we, that suggests it's not true.
Right?
They brought back all the gold.
Right.
It's a vast place, and they've only explored little bits of it along the coast.
And what they found is more wealth than can possibly be imagined. We didn't know there was this much gold in the world.
No.
Right.
The amount of gold the Spaniards have brought back